I really believe that our job as artists is to just like show up every day and be a vessel for like that creative force in the universe to like come through us. And again, that's a little sounds crazy.
No, that doesn't at
a
all.
Little woo
that's what a true
or whatever.
artist.
But
that's like
exactly.
True.
I think
like,
when you're like really doing it and you're really in that flow state, I think that's what's happening. I think there's times when our ego will get involved or we're like trying to control it too hard or like force something out.
Yeah,
but I think when you're really in that flow, I think that's what's happening. I think ideas are kind of like choosing you, and then you're like the vessel for them.
Welcome, Robertson Stash. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Robertson Stash. Today we have a very special guest on the show. We have Avatar Glass. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing great. What's up, guys? My name's Avatar. I am from North Carolina originally. I grew up there for the first like 18 years of my life, and then I moved out to Colorado when I was like 20. So yeah, 6 years ago. I've been out here for like 6 years now.
That's awesome, dude. So I know you've been blowing glass a long time. It shows in your work, and I've met you a long time ago, maybe 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, 7. Probably around the first year when I moved here.
Yeah. So when and where did you get started with glass? Like, when was the first time, and what got you into it in the first place?
Yeah, so it's kind of a long story, but it could also be a short one. But yeah, I'll tell the whole story. So basically, my parents, they followed like the Grateful Dead a lot before I was born. Okay. And then I think when Jerry died, they stopped kind of doing it as hard, but they still would like go to fish shows and some other like things in that nature. And then so I always grew up around like that scene already. Like, and I have memories of like seeing little spoon pipes and like some slightly fancier ones, like all growing up when I was a little kid. But then I had a family friend who owned a glass distribution company. So I kind of saw that like on the peripheral, like we'd go over to their house and I'd see like a whole shelf. And I always thought it was really cool, even since I was literally like a little kid. But I didn't even know there were pipes, or I didn't know anying about it at the time.
Like, how old are we talking?
Like 5-6 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That's like my daughter's age.
Yeah, super, super young. And then actually the first memory that I can remember of thinking like, oh, I might want to do that was, it was a 5th grade field trip. And that friend, their parents were a chaperone. And I remember we were driving in the car, and his mom was like drawing a heady on a piece of paper that they were going to make.
Way.
With it. Yeah.
That's
and I remember
so cool.
I was like, what are you drawing? Like, oh, you're going to make that out of glass. That's so cool. And yeah, 5th grade. So what, like 11, 12 years old. And I was like, that's so cool. And then I had a separate family friend. Honestly, in hindsight, I had like 3 different family friends that all like either parents blew glass or like,
wow.
Cause
that's in North Carolina
in Asheville. So Asheville's a very like
art community.
It is. Yeah. Super.
Geez, I hope they come. That was pretty bad. That
I
just
know, the
happened
hurricane. Yeah. We could go over all that too. That's so crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then when I was 13, 14, my friend Cassidy, his dad let me kind of just like play on the torch for the first time. Cause I'd get on the school bus, and my friend who was like a senior in high school was making these little like wigwag pendants in his dad's studio. And I was so jealous. I remember just being like, cause I'd seen glass and known about it, but I was like, oh, I want to do that so bad. And I like begged them for weeks, and they finally let me just like get on the torch. And it was funny, cause I had all these ideas of like what I would make. And then, you start melting glass and it just like falls down, and you're like, and I literally think I would just like took a thing of clear and color and just literally like stuck the color in the clear and just like moved it around. But I remember calling my mom that day when I was 13, and I told her, I was like, I think I found what I want to do with the rest of my life.
Wow.
Yeah. And, I didn't know I was going to stick with it or even know the road to get there, but I told her that day. So that's pretty crazy. And then from there, I don't count that as when I started blowing glass though.
Yeah, but that's when
technically the first time I blew glass was 13 years ago.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
And so, which I'm 26 now. So that was half my life, which is crazy to think about, that half my life I've been trying to do this one thing. And,
Did you do it much after?
That's what I was going to say. It took like 2 or 3 years for me I worked at like Chick-fil-A, Papa John's, like small, regular high school kid jobs. And to save up enough money, I bought a Red Max torch. And then I bought like an oxygen tank. Like every Christmas or birthday, I would ask for one more part. Nice. And then I think it was right before I turned 17, I was 16 when I finally had everything to build a full studio in my mom's garage. And, she was so worried I was going to blow the house up because I'm like mixing oxygen and propane. She was like, she had friends who did it. So luckily she was able to ask them like, is this safe and blah, blah. And they're like, yeah, just, you know, he needs the regulators and flashback arresters and all that kind of stuff. So I really owe a lot to my mom because like not a lot of parents would let their 16-year-old son set up a freaking.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So you're still in high school at that point, right?
Still in high school, yeah. And again, a lot of these family friends, like they were really cool and they would help me with techniques. They were like, oh, I'll teach you all the parts of how to make a pipe, but I can't teach you how to make a pipe because, you know, weed is very illegal in North Carolina, and they were worried about, you know,
showing a minor,
16-year-old how to make
yeah.
drug paraphernalia or whatever at that age. And but no, they were all really cool about it, and I owe a lot of those guys in Asheville a lot for my, you know, just being cool with me being so young. And
are they still doing it now, or do we?
Yeah. Do you know Magnum Monkong? I don't know if you know who that is, but
don't really.
So I moved in with him when I was like 17, 18 for a little bit because I was already like, I felt like I was trying to grow up too fast and wanted to like move out and be on my own and just do my own thing. And so he had a home studio, so I rented his basement out and worked in his house from like 17 to 19. So
you were out of school at that point, or like you?
So school wise, I was already like selling. So I was working those shitty jobs, and I remember someone on Instagram hit me up to make a belt buckle for them. And he was like, yeah, I'll give you $150. And I made the belt buckle in like an hour.
Damn.
And I was like, why am I getting paid $7.25 an hour when I just made that belt buckle?
Wow.
You know, I knew I wasn't going to be making $100 an hour all the time.
Saw potential,
but I saw the potential there. Yeah. So I literally that day quit my job and just started doing it like full time. I would literally get off of school. I didn't have a car, so I would convince one of my friends. I would like all day at school, I'd be texting like, who can take me to pick up my K-tank, take me to the oxygen place, refill it, and then take me back home, which was such a chore to get a friend to do that because they're literally taking you like here, and then back home. Mm-hmm. And, but yeah, every night I would just kill the K-tank literally every single night.
Wow.
And just fall asleep and then wake up, and I would even blow glass a little bit before school. Like I basically started fucking off with school really bad because I was just so into glass and I was already making money and I saw the potential. So I basically was like, my plan was to drop out of high school because I was like, I do not need high school. I already know what I want to do. And a lot of my teachers saw that and they were actually really cool with it. And so like a few teachers made a deal where as long as I tested good, I didn't have to do any projects or homework and they'd still give me a good grade.
Passing grade?
Yeah.
Nice.
And so I got all my credits done early, and then I ended up graduating early my senior year. So I only had like a PE credit my senior year first semester and then nothing else. So basically by 17, I was already graduated high school.
And then you were like full-time on the torch?
Full-time blowing glass,
wow.
yeah.
Okay.
And then when I turned 18, like a small studio in the River Arts District finally let me like rent a space because I was, you know, of age. And, yeah, but I was still technically not graduated high school yet because, you know, you're 18 when you're a senior. So, yeah, it was weird. It was like this moment where I was already in my career but finishing high school. And, yeah, they just did not want me to drop out. They were like, please just get
Dude, I think that's the most...
your high school diploma.
Shit. This fucking chair. Okay, did I swear already and we're not 10 minutes in? I think that's so important is to figure out something you love to do that's going to make you happy at an early age. And then if you can focus on that, I mean, that's kind of like the meaning of life, I think. Like,
yeah. You know, and like I always did creative stuff. I did ceramics. I painted. I knew I wanted to do something creative, but I was very ambitious as a young kid, and I wanted to like actually be really good at what I did. You know, I didn't want to just be like, and painting, you're going up against like Da Vinci and like all-time greats. It's like,
so you were painting and doing ceramics
but it's
high
just
school?
But just the idea of like being at the top of my field and something like that was just so like, there's millions of painters, you know? Yeah. And then, so when I found glass, I was like, whoa, this is actually like, especially, you know, the modern Americana pipe making is like such a niche thing. Even now it's still so young. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like what, 30, 40 years in max. And that's like, that's such a young thing.
It's crazy to think about that, dude. Every other medium goes 4,000 years back.
Yeah.
Glass shot up in the 50s, 60s with borosilicate.
That's what I was going to say. There's older glass making, but as far as the lamp working borosilicate, what we do is very new.
Yeah, everything has kind of evolved over the years. And if you look at a graph, they all kind of go up. But even glass kind of went like this, and they had some areas. But in the 50s, it went through the roof on the scale because it's just like the technology we have and the boro. You know, yeah, my story, like my first bong I ever made was a rocket ship. I was going to tell you that in high school, and my teacher let me make it. and she squished other people's bongs, and they're like, what about Matt, dude? She's like, don't worry about what Matt's doing. And she gave me this, it was like a pivotal moment that like, she's like, she could see I had some talent in it, and she encouraged me. And I went back and thanked her like 15 years after I graduated and like said, I'm doing this.
Giving you that little nudge you needed.
Well, I was going to ask you about, you know, your name Avatar and why you chose that, but I guess you didn't actually.
Yeah, I didn't know. My parents, like, as I said, you know, they like followed the dead, and my dad was actually super into like Hinduism and Buddhism.
Okay.
And so, you know, like in Hinduism, there's like the different avatars of the different gods. So it's like avatar basically just means like a vessel for something else, basically. You know, even in computers, like, or a video game, your avatar is like your embodiment.
Yeah.
In a physical form. So my dad was super into like spirituality and all that kind of stuff. So he basically, I guess, gave me a name that was like no name in a weird way. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's kind of trippy.
It's cool, man.
Yeah.
Like, so all your friends in high school were calling you Avatar.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
and you know,
cool.
the TV show and the movie came out when I was young.
Oh, really?
You know, Avatar, the Last Airbender came out when I was like,
with the blue people, right?
Well, no, that's the movie. That was a little later, but
Okay.
in like 2004 or 5, I think, Avatar, the Last Airbender came out. So from that moment on, it was just nonstop running jokes. Like, can you bend, you know, like just, I just heard it all. Yeah. And then when the movie came out, and it's surprising to me how many people ask, like, were you named after the movie? I'm like, bro, the movie came out in 2009.
Give my parents some credit.
Yeah.
That's really cool. That's pretty a deep meaning, like, for that.
Yeah. I give them props. Like, it's actually funny. As a kid, at times I hated my name just because it was so different. And like, sometimes I just craved to be like not more anonymous and just kind of like, be more in the mix. I definitely felt like an outlier because it kind of just put me, I don't know if that makes any sense.
It's the path. Look at you
but
now.
Now as an artist, now I'm like, oh, they gave me the sickest name as an artist.
And you're using your real name. Like, I went through a phase where you know, for a minute there, everyone was using aliases because it was so illegal.
Yep.
And I was like, Emmy. I didn't want to like say Matt Robertson to Matt Edward, my middle name, but
yeah, actually my Instagram name before I was Satori Glass. And
Satori.
Then, it means like peace. Like,
and
peace.
that was the name you were going with?
Yeah. And then people would ask me my real name and I'd be like Avatar. And they were like, bruh, just go by your name. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. Super funny.
So what kind of stuff were you making when you first started out? Like, did you have a style you got into when you first started? When
I first started blowing glass, I was kind of crazy in high school. Like, honestly, bless my mom's heart, because I put her through a lot just as far as like, again, I was trying to grow up really fast. And, you know, growing up in that kind of environment, I saw a lot of things and wanted to experiment with a lot of things at a young age. So like I started taking psychedelics pretty young in high school.
Really?
And so again, these years before I actually like started blowing glass full time, I was like doing a lot of psychedelics, like everything from, you know, mushrooms, DMT, LSD, like pretty much everything psychedelic in that realm at like probably way too young of an age, like 14 to 18, which I wouldn't recommend that, but you know, it was the right path for me.
You're filling up your creativity tank.
Exactly. So I was like, I had like crazy visions of things I wanted to make before I could ever even blow glass. And I would like take psychedelics and be like seeing wigwags and stuff, you know, like I'd be like building patterns in my head. But it's actually funny. I still don't feel like I'm caught up to like the ideas I had when I was 14. Like I still don't even feel like I'm making that work yet. I feel like that work is going to be made when I'm like in my 30s and 40s. Yeah, because that shit was crazy.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, actually, this is kind of an off subject thing, which I don't know if this is a little crazy for a podcast, but I had this one like DMT experience where it literally felt like a download, like in the Matrix, where they like plug in the thing in the back of your head. It literally felt like I got like plugged into this helmet and these two like pyramid shapes formed like this. And it literally showed me glass like of every color in the middle of these two pyramids. And it was like
before you wanted to blow glass?
Yeah, before I like
but
right
you
when
saw
I was starting.
You kind of saw. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was like it was like the universe was like, oh, you want to blow glass? And was like, all right. And literally like turned this like liquid into a solid glass piece and showed me like a million different designs. Whoa. And just like downloaded it in my brain.
Bro, I believe in that.
Yeah,
because
it was crazy, bro.
Like, today's 11/11. It's the biggest day for meditating, and I get downloaded. I feel this weird, like, it's weird. I don't want to sound too crazy either.
I know. I feel like, well, actually, to kind of tie it to something a little more grounded, there's this book by the girl who wrote Eat, Pray, Love called Big Magic. And it's all about how like we don't own ideas. So like during the Age of Enlightenment, creativity and all this stuff with artists, it became very like self-centered and artist-centered and individualistic. Like, oh, this is coming from me. Like I'm inspired, like blah, blah, all this. Whereas actually before that, it was the word genius meant like you have a genius. It was almost like the cobbler elves would come out at night and like help you with what you're doing. Like these ideas aren't ours. It's like there's another force or entity that's like, you know, coming in and helping us at night. Basically like the cobbler elf story where they're like coming in and making the shoes for the cobbler at night.
Okay. And
it's like that same kind of philosophy.
Embodies the artist at that time. Like they get like downloaded with some purpose to make something.
Well, like I really believe that our job as artists is to just like show up every day and be a vessel for like that creative force in the universe to like come through us. And again, that's sounds crazy.
No, that doesn't at
a
all.
Little woo
that's what a true
or whatever.
Artist.
But
that's like
exactly.
True.
I think
like,
when you're like really doing it and you're really in that flow state, I think that's what's happening. I think there's times when our ego will get involved or we're like trying to control it too hard or like force something out. But I think when you're really in that flow, I think that's what's happening. I think ideas are kind of like choosing you and then you're like the vessel for them.
It's good that you're aware of that. It's good to be aware of that.
Yeah.
Like, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So how did your style, you know, I'm sure when you're starting out, you're making some things you've seen and practicing other people's techniques and whatnot.
Yeah, no, totally. So when I first started, so like social media was first becoming a thing. So like how old was I? Like 13, 14 when I got Instagram. So it was like 2010, 11. And, you know, I was seeing like all the first people starting to post on Instagram, like, you know, Yush and Banjo and Rose Rhodes, all the Japanese dudes. The Japanese guys really inspired me pattern work wise.
Okay.
WJC,
were you on
Adam G, Glass Pipes.
Pipes.org.
Yeah, I saw all that stuff too. Like Bear Claw, you know, all those like I'm trying to think of older names that I haven't thought of like recently, but Scott Deppy was like the one for me though. Like when I saw Scott's work, I was just like, oh, he's the GOAT. Like before I even heard other people call him the GOAT, I was like,
just drawn to it.
He's the GOAT. Yeah. And
shout out Scott.
Yeah, for real. No, I just saw.
Oh,
which one was that?
That's the eagle. There's the shout out.
Yeah, no, for real. Like just because I saw his work seemed so far past what other people were making at that time. You know, I think at that, anyways, yeah. So I kind of like just through the internet, that was my only real avenue into like the heady pipe movement because I didn't know anyone yet. You know, I'm just like a young kid in Nashville, and so I kind of would emulate all their techniques, you know, and just to try to learn. And so my family friends distribution company, they would like buy like spoons or cheap rigs or like pendants. And so what I would basically do is I'd come up with a like affordable product that could be sold in dispensaries or like head shops. And so I would basically just spend every week and I'd be like, oh, okay, I want to learn reticellos. And I would just like make clear rigs with like a reticello cab on the back to like learn that technique. And so cause I knew I had these big ideas, but I was like, I got to basically pretend I'm going to college and like put myself through like a self-imposed school.
A foundation.
Yeah. And I think I was kind of like at that last mode where there was still like that sort of like secretive vibe around glass where like, oh, you got to like start here and do 1,000 of these and then 1,000 of these and 1,000 of these. And at the time I hated it because I felt like people were trying to like restrict me and like slow down my growth. But actually in hindsight, I'm so grateful for it because I was able to get so many reps in, you know, and like like, and so my hand skills just got pretty decent, like really fast because I was just putting the hours in and just making a bunch of items. Yeah,
like
exactly.
If you know the rules you have to follow to work glass, it really helps you do
exactly. And then that
want.
Opens up everything. Yeah. But I see a lot of people starting in the last 5 years where they try to go and like immediately start making what they want to make. Yeah. And their skills aren't quite just on a technical level. Like the vision's there and they'll get there eventually. Yeah. It's just a different way to skin a cat. But I'm just really grateful that like that first 3-4 years really gave me a foundation to like, you know, if I can think it, I can make it. And now it's just my mind's like the roadblock and not the hand skills or the tools.
So what was the first thing that you know, that was unique to you that you were coming up with that you were like, oh, this is my thing? What, you know, I guess there was something before the rocket ships and the sphinxes that you were making. Like, was there something like I was making antique visible gas pumps and I liked the antique look. I was making little oil cans and I was into that before I was doing animals and stuff. But
yeah, it's funny because I don't do any of this work anymore, but one of the first things I really fell in love with was fume. I would do these spoons where I was basically making like gold and silver fume dot boxes. And then I was like pulling out the last dot box and then like wigwagging it.
Oh.
And so just like things that now are probably done by a million people, but like it was at the time, you know, I felt like I was kind of like doing some new cool dot, and like with the dot boxes, I would like sometimes make like weird patterns in them.
And people were probably receiving it like, "Oh, this is new and cool. I haven't seen this."
Yeah, but you know, they were like $25 spoons. But like, I'd say they were probably worth a lot more than that because I was putting a lot of like love into them. But you know, the distribution company, that was just like, "Oh, we need a $25 spoon."
Yeah.
So I was like having to fill that product void basically. But no, fume I fell in love with. It was like the first thing I really, really fell in love with. And then like I really loved stick stacking like raw color and like making wigwags and putting them together to where it was seamless and it was like color to color with no clear. So there was no seams. It almost just looked like the wigwag came right out of the blowout or something, if that makes any sense. But yeah, a lot of that isn't reflective in my work now. These are just like when I first started blowing glass, things I loved.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
I like to hear how people kind of got started, what they like to do. Like I was doing line work and then I was wigging it out and I had all these pipes and we had to tell people Kyle made them because I would go into a store in Oregon and they'd be like, "We're not buying from the new guy." And then Kyle would go in and they'd buy the whole case. So for like 3 years, they were all Kyle's pipes.
Yeah. I just remember kind of having that problem. Like it was hard to sell my work when I was like not 18 yet.
Yeah.
Because people, you know, they don't want to, in a non-legal state, they didn't want to mix that whole world. They were already kind of sketched out by it. So to like buy pipes from a 17-year-old, but I did have,
that was right after Pipe Dreams, Operation Pipe Dreams.
It was like
a few years or something.
No, it was 2008
or 7.
No, 2012, 13. This was
Operation Pipe Dreams.
Oh no, I'm talking about when I was doing this.
Okay.
Yeah, no, Operation Pipe Dreams was like 2003, right?
Oh, was it? I thought it was more. Because when I moved to Oregon in 2007, it was like...
it was like Astral,
it was just right after
era,
that.
Right? So it was like 2007. Yeah, you're probably
But it was like right after that, and that because everyone was scared, you know? Like I just got there, and it was kind of like weird a little bit.
Yeah. I'd say the first thing, though, that like really started representing my reflection of like my real vision was I had a shopmate who had this custom that he had to make for this. He had to basically have someone's logo on the pipe and he was trying to draw a flip of the logo and he just couldn't do it. And like I was kind of known as like the young kid who could kind of like figure out any technique in the studio. And I'd done like reticellos and you knew my line work, like drawing stringer work was pretty decent, but I'd never drawn like a flip before.
What was it like?
And it was
an image
it was
of
a
something?
Green Wolf. You know Green Wolf, the company or whatever? It was this old weed company. And anyway, so like first try, I literally like almost replicated this perfect logo. Yeah. And I was like, whoa, I kind of have a talent for drawing in flips. And then WJC was obviously a huge inspiration also. Yeah. And like Yushin's flips and Scott Deppy's flips and even Quave's, some of Quave's earlier flips. But all that stuff really inspired me. And I was like, oh, this is basically like a painting in glass. So I think flips were one of the first things where I was like, oh, this is me. Yeah. Like I really want to do this. In hindsight, it's probably one of the harder things to do in glass and one of the more frustrating things to do.
I don't go there because it's like the lines, they bleed out too much and I don't have the patience to like, I'm more
you have to keep them all like half melted in. Yeah. And so you have to like literally like draw a little line and like reheat it up and draw a little line that you can't just like get in that flow. You have to like, you have to be thinking about a million things at once.
That's one thing I don't have the patience or something. I work a little more loose and I think
I'm really ADHD. So it's like good because I can kind of focus on all those things at once. And to me, that's awesome. Chill. Yeah.
Yeah. So what led to the rocket ships? Is there?
Yeah. So that basically,
what do you call them? Are they rocket?
Starships. I call them starships. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, that's Elon's new company. I was just there, dude. It was sick.
You told me you were touring SpaceX. That's sick.
It was dope. We just went right before he did the Star Shield, which is those billionaires just went out and they did the spacewalk. The guy who took us on the tour, he was behind that program, and it was cool.
Wow! So you went on a tour with that guy?
Yeah, he's like he's like a man. Shout out Danica who hooked that up. That was really sick. It was a highlight. But so what is it with the rocket ships?
Yeah,
just Elon and
no. So that was just like that was just like the name thing. Like I was like, it's funny in some of my Instagram posts, I think I called him a spaceship a few times, but then I was like, Starship just sounds better and cooler. Yeah. But where that came from was my whole childhood I was obsessed with Legos and like specifically Star Wars. Sorry, I gotta sneeze, but I don't think it's coming.
Go for it, Al. Wait, that one.
No, so yeah, I would like every Christmas I'd get like a new like Lego Star Wars set. So I always had like basically like spaceships that I built at my house. And I don't know what happened. I think it was during COVID, but I was just like building a lot of Legos because there's nothing to do. And then I was like, oh, I got to get back to work. And then I was like, wait, I'm having so much fun building Legos spaceships. Why don't I just like make little parts out of glass and basically just treat my glass like I'm building a Lego set?
Yeah.
And it was kind of a good thing because I was getting burnt out on a lot of my other designs and just feeling like I was like, you know, I just wanted something fresh and new. So it was funny because I was surprised I hadn't made them earlier because it was such a part of my life already. I love sci-fi. I love fantasy. I love any kind of movie where I can tell people put a lot of thought into like the designs of the vehicles in it, like Halo or, you know, just any of these cool like sci-fi things that came out when I was younger. And so that was maybe 3-4 years ago, which is weird. It feels like I just started making those, but yeah, I eventually want to like make like whole like satellite systems, and like I have way bigger ideas with it. But
sweet. And then the Legos kind of inspired like that building technique of like making
parts. Yeah, literally I would like some of the shapes, like the little triangle shapes, I based like directly off Lego stuff. And then I just kind of like treat it the same way. I like build all these parts and then map it out and kind of give myself these instructions. And then I'll even like when I build the framework out or like for the little parts, I'll make little like paper versions and like see if they fit in, and then make the glass version.
Very smart.
Yeah.
So what were you doing right before the rocket ships? Like,
right before that, I was making
different style.
I was making the Sphinxes.
Oh, the Sphinxes.
Yeah.
Okay, so they predate the rocket ship. Yeah, that's right. I saw on your Instagram.
Yeah, it was basically so I made the design that I think was the first one that was more popular, which was my Astral cycler, which was, you know, kind of like that recycler hype that was going on after Quave.
Yep.
Like I was like wanted to make my spin on a recycler, and I was also really inspired by like stars in the sun, so I put that array around it. And then
that's a double recycler, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And I called them Astral because it just means of the stars, and like, you know, it kind of has like that star ray with like the horns coming out. So I just named it that. And then it's funny because I made a few of those for friends, and I didn't expect it to actually be like a design or a thing. And then people just kept asking for them all the way up. And like I sold the first one for $800 to my best friend from high school. And then the second person wanted one, and he was like, oh, make one for $1,200. And then the third person was like, I'll spend $2,400 on one. And then like, I remember there was this one time when a shop was like, oh, we want to get a few, we have buyers who are ready. And I was like, oh, cool. Because, you know, at a young age and through Instagram, I didn't even really know my own market. It was like the first few years of my market, really. And I told the shop, I was like, yeah, I think I want like 4K for these. And I was telling them like 4K is what I wanted them to sell them for. And they were like, oh, yeah, we have buyers who will pay $8K for those. And I was like,
that's sick.
$8K? I was like, wait, what? I was like, I meant 4K like retail. No, exactly. And
just let it go.
Yeah, no, I did. In that moment, I just let it go. And like,
that's dope.
Because I was
value.
Like, yeah, it was crazy. Like, but it made me realize that, you know, there is a supply and demand to things. And anyways, that went all the way up to where I've made now maybe almost 100. And the most expensive one, it was a collaboration, but has almost been like almost 50K. Wow. So it's just crazy to see that progression from $800 for the first one all the way up there. But, you know, I was like 18 when I made the first one. So
that's amazing.
Yeah. And I didn't even know I was going to make those long term. It just kind of was like, it just became a thing. And then the Sphinx was something I'd always wanted to make.
And it's like a mecha Sphinx, isn't it? Like kind of like mech. It looks like it has like robot arms a little bit, or
more just like it kind of has natural arms, but like the shielding is like, so I'd say one of my things I'm kind of known for is like cold working parts that go on my pieces. Okay. And so the shielding would like, I really like making like bubble shapes and then cutting them. So you're using like just an angle with the curve.
Perfect.
Yeah. And that's where I want to go with my spaceships a lot in the future. But so I would like make armor for the Sphinxes and then cold work the wings to look like, you know, gems. And
wow, cool. Yeah. That's sweet.
Yeah, cold working has become like a very integral part to everything as well.
So are you drawn to like the Sphinx in Egypt and the pyramids and anything?
Yeah, and also just the Sphinx is like a mythological archetype too. Like, Sort of. Well, because there's like Greek sphinxes, there's Egyptian sphinxes, there's old designs that are kind of where
really I didn't know that there was more in.
Yeah, there's
Egyptian.
Yeah, there's even Asian sphinxes,
and they all just kind of happened at the same time.
I think. Yeah, I mean within a few thousand
Egypt?
years. I don't think they started in Egypt. I think
really?
I think like Babylonia actually, like
really?
before that.
I'm gonna have to look up some old sphinxes.
Well, I actually feel so dumb blanking on the name, but there's these they're almost like a sphinx. They have like a man head with like the eagle body and then a lion, but it's not called a sphinx. It like predates a sphinx. It's in a bunch of museums. I saw them in Europe. I can't believe I'm blanking on the name. It's been a while since
it's got a beast head or it's got a human head.
I can
look
figure
it
out
up
in literally 1 second.
Okay.
Because I actually am blanking and I want to know.
No, that's cool. I'm really drawn to all that Egyptians. Like I can't believe, those big pyramids. Lamassu?
Okay. Yeah, so they were these things.
We'll put a picture of a B-roll up. Okay, I've seen those.
And so those are from like Babylonia. And so my sphinxes are actually kind of based off those and like Greek sphinxes, but the Egyptians in there too. So mine are kind of like an amalgamation of
hybrid.
of everything. And I'm sure you've watched like Magical Egypt, The Mystery of the Sphinx and all that, if you're into that kind of stuff.
Shit, dude. Maybe not. I gotta watch that one.
Oh, if you're into the Egyptian stuff,
the new one that just came out with George Knapp. But
it's those dudes who made it's an earlier one that
I've
the BBC
heard about
did.
that.
Yeah,
and did that guy pass away now?
Yep.
Okay, and he
John
was
Anthony West, right? Well,
he was like an old eccentric guy.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that. The joke, like I hear people talking about that. But
so I was super inspired by that and just like basically also I don't know if you ever saw Never Ending Story. But the sphinxes.
You grew up on that movie.
Yeah, me too.
With the big white
the sphinxes
thing?
with the riddle and the lasers. I loved that scene too.
I gotta pull up an image of that too. That's
pull up an image of that. Mine are also very inspired by those ones too. Yeah. And just like the idea of like the sphinx being a guardian and like usually testing people with a riddle. I think there's a whole.
Is that the backstory behind it? I don't know much about it. Yeah. I'm drawn to it and I like it, but I need to do more research and.
Again,
when I get the time I do.
At times I was writing entire like artist statements about why I was making the sphinxes, but I have bad memory. So like actually recalling all that right now after years of not doing it. But at one point I could like tell you everything about them.
Like just the positioning of the pyramids, the height of it and it's like the circumference is like, it all matches up the size of the world and how close to the sun. If you times the height of the pyramid, a certain round number, it's like something, I don't know what it is, billion or something.
Yeah.
But it's the exact distance to the sun. Like there's all these things.
Yeah, the geometry of it's crazy.
And the coordinates are the speed of light.
Yeah.
So that's weird, dude. Right down to like however many decimals it is, but it's the speed of light is the coordinates of the pyramid.
Yeah.
That's strange.
Yeah, no, I've been super drawn to all that stuff. And actually it's funny because I think I could even show you, but like I'll stop playing on my phone. But like the first, before I made a lot of Egyptian stuff, before I made a lot like the sphinxes, some of the first proto things I made were Egyptian stuff. Like I made like Anubis heads and some ankhs.
Oh, cool.
You know the ankh?
No, I have to see a picture of it.
You definitely know the ankh. It's like the cross, but with the loop up top.
Okay, that's a special symbol. Yeah, so it means something.
Yeah, it like reverberates energy.
Are you into astrology?
My mom was.
Yeah,
my mom was really into it and like. Read me my charts growing up and all that stuff.
Yeah, my mom too, actually. Yeah.
The most I know about it is just like that I'm a Pisces.
A Pisces? Oh, yeah. Really?
But
I only have like really Pisces, Leos, and Libras in my life.
Really?
Like that's like my mom and my brother are Pisces. My dad, my wife's dad, my daughter are all Libras. Lots of Leos. And I'm a Leo.
My brother's a Leo.
I mean, besides our future piece that we're about to make, we'll put that one aside. But what have been some of your favorite collabs that you've worked on?
That's so hard.
Like maybe top 2 or top 5, but
I have an easy one, and it's not because like, it is hard because you're like trying to pick a favorite. It's like picking your favorite child or something. But
yeah, totally.
But like I will say, I made this piece with Adam G, which probably just one of the more time-intensive pieces I've ever made. And it was even one of those pieces where when it was done, I was like, I feel like I could still spend another year on this piece. Wow. Just because you could kind of like never really end. And just seeing the amount of time he spent in getting his fume color like just the right way. Like I think he made maybe like 3 times the amount of parts than we actually used of his fume.
Oh,
and
wow.
so just seeing like making a piece where everything was really just like dialed in and the time was taken.
Yeah.
Like I think we worked on it on and off for like 6 months or something, you know,
Wow.
just not a rush. And I really loved that.
Did you cold work did he cold work it, or did you?
I cold worked all my stuff for the spaceship, and he cold worked his gyms.
Oh, wow.
So we
Cool.
both cold worked a lot on it.
We'll put a picture of that up, because I think I remember seeing that, and I love his like fume marbles. They're pretty epic.
So epic. Yeah, I'd say the Japan collabs, that one, one of my WJC collabs, and then like, yeah, as far as collabs go.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll show some pictures of those.
Oh, and it's like me and Elbow did this cool collaboration with this, like, I was really into trying to like overlay holograms over glass sculptures a few years ago. And I'm still finishing one up right now, but
holograms, what do you mean? Like
so there's different ways to kind of create a hologram. These were a glass triangle you put around the sculpture, and then there's a screen up top that reflects it. So that it's like a one-way mirror, basically, to where it looks like the reflection from up top is like overlaid over your design.
Oh, wow.
Or your sculpture in real life.
That's pretty cool.
And you can like look on all sides of it. It looks pretty 3D, even though technically you're just seeing a 2D image layered over it,
so
because
it's like
you're
a little
looking through
hologram
glass.
in there.
It's called a Pepper's Ghost illusion. Disney actually has been using it at their theme parks for like years for their hologram stuff.
Really?
But yeah, it's what the Tupac hologram was.
Okay.
You know, the like show they did.
That was pretty good. That shocked everybody.
Yeah. And so, yeah, there's like newer stuff, but honestly, I got discouraged from all that just because like paying for VFX and animators and all the digital stuff is like so expensive. It's insane. You hear about these movies, you know, they spend hundreds of millions on the VFX, and I'm like, oh, I see why. Because to get a little like 30-second loop of like CGI VFX to be overlaid, like I think was like $8,000 or something.
30 seconds, $8,000. Damn.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
And that was like that was like a good deal. You know what I mean?
Well, that's expensive. That's more expensive than animation. Like big time, because
because this had to be this was
like
VFX, so it had to be like 3D too. Yeah.
Wow. That's a whole, now with the new like Sora, do you know Sora?
Yeah, that's
like
crazy. That's going to change the game with all of that. Yeah.
I feel like everyone's kind of waiting for AI.
Cheaper. Yeah.
Because people have like canceled their, like that Tyler Perry guy was building $1 billion studio, and he just canceled that because he's like, fuck it, wait for this
to catch up.
Hey, is life a little bit chaotic at times? Well, me too. Put a little harmony in your life. Harmony Extracts. Scoop me up a dab. No matter what you're into, they've got you covered. Live rosin, live resin, live batter. Look at those diamonds. They got you covered, it looks like, with everything live. Harmony Extracts are available in dispensaries throughout Colorado. Find them on Instagram at harmony_extracts and on their website at harmonyextracts.com. What do you see when you see this? I see perfect harmony. Is there any like other artists you look for like that you're inspired by? Like maybe not even glass, like just whatever. Like what are you kind of drawn to?
Lately I'm just like really obsessed with this dude Daniel Arsham.
Daniel Arsham?
You know Daniel Arsham? He does a lot
familiar.
You've definitely seen probably some of his work. He does the little. Have you ever seen like the Pokemon characters where there's like a distressed part that's like crystallized, taken out of them?
Oh yeah.
You know
and he does
about?
the Porsches.
Makes like the Porsches.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. Okay, that's
and I really like his work, and like it's not you wouldn't know or see that in my work, but I do kind of want to see what kind of glass objects or designs I could make for like kind of like interior design, and that's kind of this is like a future thought thing. I haven't come out with any.
I think that market didn't have a slowdown as much as we did.
Yeah, well,
that's for
I just think there's a whole untapped thing there, and Daniel Arsham.
Yeah,
I with what we do, and people are tapping into it, obviously. But I'm just saying with our niche, with the interior design, I think there's something there. Like actually, I was talking to Nate because. You know, he could make, for example, his space, he could just like lay that out and make them tiles. You could like tile a whole little area with Nate stuff and
doorknobs, like any of that
just things like
but
that.
Lighting in general is like
because I love my art. My favorite thing is when I come into someone's house and I see my art as like a decoration in their house. And I want to kind of keep going with that to the extent.
Imagine if your thing's like lit up.
It
was like, I don't know. Yeah, that's possible. Dude.
Yeah,
it is art.
like actual lighting fixtures, or like an actual,
like a sconce rocket ship that just was up there and like lit up all crazy.
Yeah.
Maybe kind of remote.
Yeah, or even like a plant holder, like like satellite system thing. That's like a plant holder. Just like you could do so many different things with it.
Yeah, that would be cool. Have a little plant. That'd be cool in there.
Yeah, no, anyways, Daniel Arshami's not a glass guy, but
what's he make those out of? Is it like,
I think a bunch of different stuff. I think some are like real sculptures that
other like marble.
Yeah, and then I think others are like more mass produced and manufactured for like a smaller, more affordable market.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, just as far as friends who are inspirations, like Elbow, WJC, Yushin, freaking just all my guys right here. Yeah, pretty much shout out Everdream. Nate, Adam G, all those dudes, they're pretty much, and Elbow's the first one who was like invited me out here when I was 18. And so I owe a lot to him too. Cause
how did you guys meet?
We had met briefly at Heaters and like a glass show or two, but when we actually met and like started hanging out I took a class from him when I was 18. And, so like I told you that range of those Astral Seclers I was selling, he was so early that like, I think I sold like the 5th one to him. He saw what I was making and was like, "Oh, you make those for $2,000? I'll buy one of those." And I was like, "What?" Cause Elbow was like one of the bigger names in glass. So as an 18-year-old kid who's like getting into it, I was like, "What? One of my freaking heroes wants to buy my work."
Yeah.
And then he told me to come out here, and then it was like, yeah, just from that moment, I was just like, "Oh, these are my people." And then I think it all just like naturally gravitated towards
like starting
me being out here. Yeah, I started coming out here a bunch, and then so I was 18 then. I moved out here when I was 20, so it was like 2 years of coming back and forth.
Seeing if you really wanted.
Yeah, and then actually Tuba downstairs was the one. It's a really funny story. I'd already talked about moving here and like wanted to move here, but the moment when I actually was like, all right, I'm gonna like pack everything in my car and just drive to Colorado was, Tuba called me one night all late and was just joking around and had a little spiral on a piece of paper and was like, "You will move to Denver," like joking that he was hypnotizing me to move there. And I was like, bro, all right, I'm coming. That was like the nail in the coffin for me coming out here.
What year was that?
So I was 20. So that was 2017, 2018.
2017. Okay.
Yep.
So you spent the pandemic out here.
Yeah. Well, I was here for like 2 years. I lived in Denver for a year, and then I moved up to actual Evergreen. And then the pandemic hit.
Right when you moved up to Evergreen?
Like my first year here, yeah.
Oh, sweet. Well, that's a nice spot to be. I think that's better than being in Denver with all.
It was during the pandemic. Yeah, it was tight. Yeah, actually it was. Yeah. Post-pandemic, sometimes a little cabin fevery, but
glassblowing is kind of really demanding on the body.
So demanding.
And the older you get, I'm 21 years into it. It's like kind of you got to take care of yourself. But what do you do for to stay healthy?
I was so obsessed with glassblowing my first few years that I definitely like let my health go to shit. And I was so young that you can kind of just like abuse your body.
It's very easy to.
Yeah, and you like
bounce right back.
All you need is to go to sleep. And then you wake up you're fine. Yeah.
Not even.
Yeah, literally not even.
I mean,
no. Well,
seriously.
no, that's the thing. I would literally spend 48 hours blowing glass straight sometimes. Like, cause I was 17, 18 and you really can do that, like those are the days when
running
you're
on adrenalenal from the piece. It's like so sick. Honestly, I stayed up till 4 a.m. the other day, which I never do, to make that Jerry Kelly piece.
Yeah,
I was like hyped.
Well, sometimes, dude,
wind down.
Yeah,
I finished it.
Don't you think like when pieces take a long time, do you ever get in a mode where you're like, you forget almost for a week or two, like the high you get from finishing a really nice piece? It's literally like
I chase that high, bro.
It's crazy. It's like because I'll be finishing a heady and it took me 2 weeks, and that whole 2 weeks I was like just building the parts and it's just grueling and like cold working, all this stuff. And then I'm putting it together and I'm like feeling the high from like actually seeing the vision come together. And I'm just like, oh yeah, I do the sickest thing in the world. I'm so in love with this. Like,
yeah, but when you're prepping, it's
sometimes you get a little burnt out.
Mundane, yeah. But you got to know it's coming.
Yeah.
But you build that adrenaline and that anticipation. And then it's like, you get ready for it. But sometimes when I was doing that demo with Deppy, like we came with all the parts built and I just jumped right into the adrenaline part. And
where was that at? Where'd you guys do that? Was that Champs? Or was that?
Was at Las Vegas.
Oh, Glass Vegas. Yeah. That was
Rest in
last
peace.
year or this year?
It was last year.
Last year.
Because they don't have it anymore.
It's done?
I think so.
I did hear like rumors about that on the last one, but I didn't know.
I don't know.
I didn't know that was for sure. GG.
I think they posted something.
Damn,
so
GG Las Vegas.
RIP. I don't know. Well, that one's probably better. Anyways, so I mean, what's an average day look like for you? Are you a night owl?
Yeah. To get back to the health stuff. So I basically crushed my body. I think my body naturally at that age, I'm always been really skinny, was like 125 pounds. Dude, I got down to like 110 pounds one time because I broke my arm, was emaciated, wasn't eating, like, yeah, literally.
What's emaciated?
I don't even know if I was actually emaciated. Emaciated just means like you're just like withering away. Okay. You know what I mean? Just like super skinny. Like it looked like I was anorexic or something. It was bad. Yeah. And like
malnutrition.
Malnourished basically. Yeah. And but then I recently, or like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I started going to the gym and just eating more. And I found that the gym really helps because like if you want to blow glass for 12 hours straight and you don't have like a strong back,
your core is important.
Yeah, exactly. And your core, if you don't have like strong,
if you're hunched over, kick out your hip, it's causing
I've noticed that does, more like repetitive stress injury problems. Yeah. Yeah. Well, so just stretching.
It's easier to rest your elbow and like do detailed work for sure.
Yeah.
It's almost hard to like do detailed work.
Actually, my back hurts the most when I'm drawing flips.
Yeah.
Because I have to just
you're breathing almost.
Yeah, because what'll happen is I'll get so sucked into it, like the lines being perfect, that I'll sacrifice like good posture for a moment. And so I'll like 30 minutes into it, I'll realize I'm just sitting there like this, trying to draw. And then I'm like, oh my God. But yeah, so doing that and then just like allowing yourself to have another hobby. Like recently I've been playing golf. Elbow got me into golf and I used to literally like rag on them for it, but now I love it.
You play virtual golf?
No, I would, but I love just playing 18 holes outside like real golf.
Yeah, that's nice too.
Yeah.
That's nice
well, yeah, because you're out in nature, you're with your friends, you're smoking weed. I love it. Yeah.
I love golfing. I gotta
it's literally like you're going for a hike, but you're just like trying to hit some balls while you're
and I love
going
driving
on
the cart. It's a joy of mine.
Me too.
That's my favorite. I'm always I gotta fight to be the driver. Not where I'm getting my own cart. Like
no, dude, I love playing golf and just like allowing yourself to have, and that's like a mental health thing, just because I think sometimes during the wintertime, for example, up here, just grinding away for days and days on end, it can get a little low.
Do you ski or snowboard?
I used to snowboard, but I broke my shoulder doing jiu-jitsu and snowboarding. So if I fall right here, it's going to just break again.
Jiu-jitsu and snowboarding at the same time?
Well, no, I broke it twice, once from snowboarding, one from jiu-jitsu.
Same one?
Same shoulder. So it's just, it just wants to break. Yeah, because I didn't get surgery.
Damn.
It's my clavicle, my distal clavicle. So yeah. But yeah, no, health is really important with glass. Like I think if you strengthen yourself, it makes glass easier to do. But also like going to the gym, having a hobby and trying to blow glass for 12 hours a day, that's what I'd say. You asked me what an average day looks like, is trying to find that balance right now of like, because sometimes if I go to the gym too much or if I'm playing too much golf or like doing something else, I might feel really like balanced, but I'm used to this like younger version of myself that would like kill myself working 20-hour days and could finish a heady in a week or two. And I'm like, dang, if I want to make those kind of pieces but have this balance, that might take me a month.
Yeah.
So I'm like, how do I find this balance of like producing as much work as I want to produce while also like not like burning my body out?
Rest and relaxation is a hard part. And I have a hard time doing it when I'm not blowing glass and I'm not doing like Disneyland or something. Like it's hard for me to chill sometimes. Like I'm cleaning my shop maybe is chilling.
Me too. I always find myself standing when I should be resting. For sure.
So it's good to force yourself. Like I'll go through like work benders and then I'll just take a few days off and like make sure I don't do anything.
Yeah, go
get a massage, whatever, chill.
That's why I really like sports massages, because they really know how to stretch you out too. It's almost a sports massage almost feels like just like a sterilized like medical version of a Thai massage, honestly.
Really?
Yeah, because they're kind of doing the same thing. They're like stretching. They're like kind of like stretching you and giving you a massage. Yeah,
that sounds good for.
And like NBA players, they get stretched out for like hours at a time, and I think that's a trick to really like aging and like still performing.
If you say you had $5 billion, and what would you do with yourself after you kind of did all the fun stuff, got that out of the system, and then you needed to like do something for happiness, and money was, like,
I've actually thought about this a lot. I actually know it's funny. A lot of questions like that I'd have to think about, but I think if I actually just had like sort of infinite money, I would first build myself the facilities and research to make like the craziest things I could possibly make. And then I would probably open up a museum for glass. And then I would want to basically like pay all of my friends to make the craziest thing that, like, for $5 billion, I could pretty much take every single one of my friends and be like, how much money do you want to retire? And just spend the rest of your life making like the craziest passion projects you could ever make. And then I'd want to like basically put all of that in a museum.
That'd be a hype center of like for the arts, like there was just crazy projects going on and like, endless money thrown at it.
Yeah. And being able to allow your friends to like retire and basically just spend the rest of their life making their actual like legacy pieces, that if I had $5 billion, that's what I would do. But
yeah, that's the game. That's the game plan.
Because that's more than enough than I would need to do that. But even if I had a few mil, like liquid, like if someone was like, here's 10 to 20 million, that's what I would do just for myself. I'd be like, all right, well, I'm retiring, but not. I'm just like, now it's only about passion projects. Like I want to spend 3 years on one piece type deal.
This little slowdown almost created more of a passion project vibe in the atmosphere. Because like it kind of dipped and people were like, you're making stuff for your own sanity or whatever.
Yeah. So what is your experience with the dip or your opinions on the dip? Because I've felt it in different ways.
I felt it. You know what? For me personally, it's slower in America, and worldwide it's picking up huge. Yeah, now.
I would agree with that. Yeah,
like Argentina, Mexico. I'm supposed to be going to Mexico next month to Mexico City to do a demo. Like I feel like the hash is coming over there, and that's what they're like. We need cool pieces to smoke this shit. And like,
because what I felt was I definitely felt a lot less people trying to buy really expensive pieces for sure. Don't get me wrong on that.
Yeah.
But I felt like, because for a while I was like, oh, dang, the market, because I was hearing a lot of people talk about it. And I did have like a slightly longer or a little less like people in line for big pieces I wanted to make. But I kind of realized that there was still the market for like you said, the crazy big passion project pieces, like the really fucking sick heaters. Like I kind of felt like what happened is the more like the like in between heady, that wasn't like the craziest thing you could make, but was still a piece. But like those pieces,
like the working man couldn't really afford
those really expensive pieces were the ones I feel like the market kind of dipped super hard on. Like, because I feel like it was almost like not to actually put a specific number on it, but like it was like if it's under 5K, a lot of people can still like feasibly obtain it. But I felt like the 5 to like 20K market just got like evaporated. But like,
I think so.
But then like 20K plus stuff, I feel like was still moving, because even though the economy and the market was down, people who can afford something that's that expensive, they probably already have enough money. Exactly. So they like
their backup bong fee.
Yeah. But there was definitely a lot less of those pieces being sold, but I still noticed there was still this super high end market. So yeah,
I think
would
that's
agree
all
with
about
that.
the change.
Yeah.
There was a lot of buildup with bad things in the world, and everyone got scared a little bit in the election, and now it feels like, especially on the 11/11 portal,
I've had like 7 people call me that were basically like, oh yeah, I was just waiting to see what the markets and Bitcoin and all this did, and I'm ready to like start working on that piece.
Bitcoins,
basically.
dude.
Yeah, no, literally,
no,
I had some people who like realized their
gains
for Bitcoin at like 80K who have been holding since it was at like a few $100s. So they're finally like,
oh my God,
they've been waiting.
It's gonna go
for a
to
while.
250, dude.
Yeah, I know, and they know that. They're like, I might regret liquidating here. But
what's it at right now? What's Bitcoin at right now? What, 79?
Yeah, it's about to be 80, bro.
I should buy it because I was gonna buy it last night at 80. I was gonna switch Ethereum over and just go all Bitcoin because Ethereum's not really growing the same, but. Fuck, it went up 7,000 from last night.
87 today while we've been sitting here.
Bro, I should have switched that.
That's so crazy. It's running that hard right now. That blows my mind.
I'm going to switch it after this podcast.
Oh, man. I sold all my... Like, I've accumulated a little bit of Bitcoin since then, but I had 2 Bitcoins In 2016 or 17 when it had that first big spike up to like, and I
What
think
did
I
you
sold
cash out at?
like 17,000.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so bad.
Damn.
And at the
Imagine
time,
buying
and at
one
the
for
time, well, dude,
right
do you know what I got those Bitcoin for though? Like $300.
Oh,
Me and my friends were fucking with crypto and Bitcoin in high school.
no way.
And yeah, and we bought Bitcoin off this dude at like Earth Fair in Asheville off a USB drive. Like you couldn't even buy it off of the internet. You had to like physically buy Bitcoin on a USB drive from a person.
Yeah, I was one of the
Like-
last to be like, oh, this is.
But none of us had
This is
any
good
idea
shit,
it was
but-
going to go to that. And like,
you know, the guy who bought a pizza for 10,000 Bitcoin.
yeah, we've all heard that. Yeah, that's
That's
insane.
crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, if you could smoke a joint with anybody, living or dead, not a family member,
See, that's when I have to think about that.
not a family member, no pressure, but who would it be?
Living or dead?
You know, it could be anybody. Jimi Hendrix.
Probably Leonardo da Vinci.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That'd be an interesting.
super crazy interesting.
Yeah, that would be great. He's a legend.
Yeah. This is going to sound weird because I'm not
Okay.
even like super religious, but like if Jesus was a real person, that would be really
Light
cool.
one up with him.
Yeah. Which sounds crazy.
Wait,
because
back in the day or in what time?
In
year?
around zero, I guess.
Zero?
Yeah. Like,
Right when they're
I'm
like,
just saying,
this is it. Starting.
there's a
time.
bunch of documentaries on like the Jesus that was the real historical figure versus like biblical Jesus, or like how real is one or the other, or the crossover, or blah, blah, blah. But yeah, if the historical Jesus was a real person, just who that person was based off of, like that would be crazy trippy to like, and I'm not even like,
after he was resurrected or before?
Probably before. He probably wouldn't smoke a joint after. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, maybe not.
I'm just joking.
Get it in right before the last joint he smokes.
But no, yeah, like fuck. I feel like there's way better answers that I'm just not
Jesus
thinking of
and
right
Da
now.
Vinci. That's some good shit. That's some old. Those would be interesting, dude. I'd like to watch that if I could get the video of that.
Da Vinci,
like,
just because like a mind that's working that far into the future, that is.
It's
in
beyond
the
it. It's before its
1500s.
time.
Yeah,
it's
that is something I'd really.
He's like a special person during that time. But
Oh,
like
Tesla would be a cool person.
Nikola Tesla.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I just me and Danger and Coyle went to Niagara Falls where he had some work that he did there. But there is a monument where he came up with the idea for these like turbine generator. I don't know. Something.
But no, he had a lot
like
of really
spot.
cool ideas, and I liked what I heard is that he would get his ideas that he would literally kind of what we were talking about with like he would just channel them. He'd literally like sit there like this, and that's where his ideas from literally.
No way. I think I heard that.
Yeah, and I don't remember if it was
people
him
tried
or
to
someone
shut
else.
him down, dude.
Oh, dude,
they took everything.
And I think he was like in love with a pigeon.
Is that right?
One of the weirder facts about him. He was like asexual, and like his love.
When
was
the
like
government took 80 boxes, they only gave 60 back to their like.
Oh yeah,
family
and I think they like
after he died,
destroyed
and
his
like,
workshop.
Totally
at one point too.
don't
It, like,
want
burned
that
down.
free energy. Like,
oh, not at all. Yeah, I've actually heard
right.
though some modern stuff about his technology that like maybe the whole electricity being channeled through the air would have like messed some stuff up, and like we wouldn't be able to have radio waves and certain things we have now if we would have gone down that route.
Well,
but
dude, my friend's working on some patent project shit, but it's gonna change recycling. It's huge money, and it's like Tesla's kind of theory, but to break elements down with frequencies.
Oh wow!
So taking epoxy or a fiberglass, they can separate the glass from the epoxy, and like rubber tires, the metal. It's a
frequency.
Yeah, and it goes
crazy.
in this box. I was like, it's like fucking huge money, but it's gonna be something that Tesla was working on. He was telling me, but now they've like refigured it out. I don't know. All-time favorite movie in 10 seconds, dude. Go. You got 10 seconds.
Interstellar. That just came to me.
I cry every time with
Me
that
too.
one. Every time.
Yeah, I cry.
I shut it off at a certain point. I'm like, I know
when he's like
rest.
replaying his kids' lives because he realized like their whole. He was on that planet for like
the time
like an hour, and then his entire kid's life's aged.
I'm gonna cry right now.
No, I love Christopher Nolan is probably my favorite director.
Do you think there's some truth behind that movie Interstellar?
Oh, I mean, there's a lot of
they tried to go pretty accurate.
I think he went pretty deep. I think that movie is his like number one masterpiece.
I think a lot of like astrophysicists people are like that movie is pretty accurate.
Well, and I just really love the idea that like again, not to get all woo woo, but like the idea that like love is the foundational fabric of reality that like holds us all together. You know what I mean? It's so corny, but
love
that's
that.
like a thing from like psychedelics too. So to see someone like Christopher Nolan, who's making a movie about space, kind of come to that same like realization at the end, I was
It's a
just
beautiful
like,
movie.
yeah, it's
I can
literally
only
a
watch
beautiful
it.
movie.
I've watched it.
I went and
once
saw
or
it like
twice.
5 times in theaters when it came out.
I watched it once or twice when it came out, and then it's been a while, and I just
Yeah.
watched it recently and watched it again.
But I will say, I like Revenge of the Sith is up there. I'm a huge Star Wars nerd.
Okay,
and
nice.
that movie came out in 2000. Like I was like 7 years old, and I saw it with my dad in theaters. It was one of the first movies I saw in theaters. And you know, Star Wars, 7 years old, can't beat that.
Yeah,
Watching
that's
Anakin
powerful.
turn to Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never really got into Star. I don't know. I was in Canada growing up too, so there is a little bit of difference in some of the like mainstream epic movies. Like I've never seen this one movie that me and Hoops just made. Have you seen Over the Top with Sylvester Stallone, where he's a professional arm wrestler? It's supposed to be an American classic. How about this? Craziest Vegas story you can recall, or you see
watching my friend lose $80,000 in one hand.
Whoa,
Probably.
yeah.
Crazy.
What game?
War.
War.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Because he worked his way all the way up from like 10,000 to 80, just like
That's gotta
craziest
hurt.
streak. And then I
couldn't
was like,
do it.
I was like, bro, take the 80, take the 80, take the 80. And he was like, no.
I'm going $1 million.
He just put the whole 80 back in
It's
there.
gotta hurt. Like
Yeah.
I get too shaky.
Oh, and
at that point.
he just like, it just like rolled off his chest so easily. But I was sitting there like,
Holy
my
shit,
God,
that's
like-
painful.
yeah, like I'm not a huge gambler. I love watching people gamble.
I heard that they just said to all the slot machines in Vegas that they're gonna take twice as much money now from the people. They just like double so the chain.
That's so mean.
Yeah,
I
before
love
they pay
I
out.
love roulette and craps though. Like playing as far as playing gambling in Vegas, like roulette and craps, because I feel like they just have a lot of table energy. And yeah, in Vegas that's really fun. But honestly, I've only gone to Vegas for like things like Glass Vegas.
Yeah.
And
Do you gamble when you're there?
yeah, but nothing crazy.
Okay. Yeah.
I just like set aside a
level
little
where it's-
amount that I'm willing to lose. And you know, there's been times where I'll take that little amount and get all the way up to like almost 10K a couple times.
Whoa.
But then a lot of times you lose all that. But
yeah.
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 But I like
I'm
that.
I'm winning.
If
and then you
I
just
can take a
lose it.
small amount and turn it into a big amount, and then I lose it, I'm
It
kind of
hurts
okay.
less.
It does hurt less,
Yeah.
yeah, because you're like,
But when
well,
you have to run up to your hotel room and get some
no,
backup
I
cash
try to never
and then
do
come
that.
back down.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I try
Me
to not,
neither.
I try to not do that.
So you have a YouTube channel. I've seen like some
Oh,
stuff
yeah,
on there.
yeah.
What's that? What's the channel called? Avatar?
It's called Hey Avatar, which
Hey Avatar.
yeah,
I like that.
I don't know, kind
No, I like
of
that.
kind of cringe, but well,
I
no,
like it.
I started it because I started a personal Instagram where I called it was Hey Avatar, because honestly, like again, a lot of people don't know my real name's Avatar, so I kind of just go by that because it is my name.
That should have been your name of your podcast. My real name is.
That's a good idea. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if I start a podcast, yeah, I'll take
Or
your advice for that.
your channel. I
Yeah,
don't know,
yeah,
whatever.
yeah. But no,
you
like,
should.
so I did the channel basically as like a video diary for myself because I was traveling so
That's
much and
awesome to
doing so
document
many-
it. You're gonna love looking back on
That's
that
what it
when
is.
you're
It's
50.
it's for
dude.
myself. Like
Like-
I really, it would be cool if it became a thing where like, if I was ever monetized and could make money off YouTube, that would be sick just because like I love making the videos and I love filming them. But to be honest, I'm really bad about actually putting them together and putting them out there. It takes me like a month turnaround sometimes.
Editing.
Yeah, just because
Yeah,
like
it's a
I'm
lot.
filming, I'm directing, I'm editing, I'm picking the soundtrack. Like I'm literally
I've been
doing
doing-
every single aspect of
can't-
it. And so it's like, and again, it's just for me. It's like I'm not on a schedule to pump out YouTube videos because again, it's like if I get some people watching them, that's cool. But actually, I kind of would prefer that it doesn't get too big because then I might be self-conscious about like the videos I'm making. Because as of right now, it's just like I'm just putting it all on there, like the whole trip on there, because I want to come back when I'm 50 and be like, whoa, look at all these crazy memories.
Sure, it's that little
Yeah.
documentation of your life along the way. I think a lot of people like that's what I enjoy too,
Yeah.
and it's nice to because I forget things so easily, and I forget, But
No, that's why I did it too. Yeah, my memory,
Yeah.
I was just traveling so much that like my memories were like fading. And I was
Uh-huh.
like, I'd gone to Japan like 10 times and I was like, wait, was it that Japan trip? This Japan trip? Like I was like, everything was just
do
so.
you enjoy editing it?
I actually do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I am really into movies. I watch a lot of movies while I blow glass and work. And so I actually am really fascinated I suck at it and I don't spend enough time doing it. So I'm not actually good, but like I do enjoy the process of like making videos.
You got any advice for any glass blowers just starting out? That might, I don't know. Sometimes they need a little kick in the pants or some advice, or they hear something. Maybe they'll stick with somebody.
basically like hours equals powers, and you really gotta put in that like repetitive time in the beginning to really get your hand skills up there. And it might be boring and kind of grueling, but like treat it like you're going to college for this, like you're putting yourself through school. Cause I do see some stuff where it's like the vision's there before all the technique is there, but that's not really, that's like more superficial, just technical advice where like really put the hours and the time in, which is kind of like no duh. But yeah, hours equals powers is a huge
That's huge
thing.
Because it's and it's consecutive hours,
Yeah, every day, day in, day out.
You can't just do it for an hour a day, once a week. You got to kind of really immerse yourself and do it for 8 hours. That's a half a day for me, dude.
1,000%. Yeah, no, 16-hour days. No, but 16-hour days happen with class all the time.
They happen, and you got to be ready for them.
Especially if you're working with someone else or if you're trying to finish a collaboration.
That's pretty, or you're running a deadline or something.
Yep. Deadlines, I mean, I've pushed it over 24, like straight on the Twitch.
I know. You know what? Whenever I push a deadline and I rush it before a show or something, I always break that fucking piece. Dude.
Really?
Like it's like Kyle knows. Like, and I'll cut myself too.
Yeah.
And I always go. You'll see so many pictures of me with like a big wounds right before, like all the time, dude. But, anyways, what's on the horizon for you? Any big shows planned?
I want to do a really big solo show in the next year or two, but I'm in no rush for it, just because we're not in any shortage of glass shows, so. I wanted to I want to come up with something where it isn't just a glass show with my work on pedestals. Like I want there to be something else to it. And I haven't really found the exact inspiration for that yet. So I'm not like rushing to do a show. And I'm not, like as of right now, it is kind of hard to like hold a lot of pieces back from the market. Like, and like you basically got to like work for 6 months and hide all your work and then, release it, and you're kind of like not getting paid for 6 months. Shows are a lot of pressure, a lot of stress. Like unless you're really determined to, you got this idea. Like I've done, giraffes and laughs. We had comedians come down. See, that's sick. Yeah. And I did this Sentinel show in 2020 or 2021 in LA. And I was like really into the Sphinx thing. Like we were talking about earlier, the mythology behind it. I was calling them Sentinels because they're like guardians, and I was able to like hoard like 5 of my best collabs I'd ever done. And then so that to me was like, anyways, I put, like literally
show in LA.
Yeah. And I took 6 months into that show, and it was my most successful show. And I want to do something at least like that, where at least the subject matter is like
cohesive.
Yeah, exactly.
That's, where can people find you online? Are you on all platforms? Are you on
just Avatar Glass, and then
on
Avatar.
Okay, on AG. Oh,
yeah.
And then that's
Avatar Glass on.
Are you on X?
Yeah, but no.
Don't.
Yeah, no. That's just my own personal.
Okay, don't.
Page. I'm not telling them my Twitter username.
Okay, nice. All right, going anonymous on Twitter. I can see that because it's.
Well, no, if you know, you know,
dude. Well, thanks for being on the show. We can maybe even do a follow up after. We'll see how we're doing, but I want to get a sick piece in with you while you're here.
Absolutely.
So we're gonna start doing that.
Avatar glass.art for my merch. And stuff
you got a .com?
Yeah, no .art.
So it's .art. Okay,
yeah, someone stole my .com. I was killing it with the
someone took Matt Robertson glass as soon as I let it go.
I had the .com.
That's why I'm Robertson.
And I messed up and I didn't keep up with the
feet.
Dude, because I literally, I got a new debit card and it expired, and I didn't know the auto pay.
And then some asshole goes, "Oh, this has been a website for a long time."
Yep. And he tried to sell it back to me. How much? $30,000.
Wow. Someone's only going to pay $5,000.
I talked him all the way down to $3K.
Okay.
But I didn't want to pay $3K even.
Did you pay $3K?
I didn't. No, I was like, I saw there was .art available, and I was like,
that I make art. Good.
Yeah, it's not.
Does it it doesn't? You can still do the SEOs and
actually, I think he sold it because now avatarglass.com goes to some like stained glass company in like Dubai or something.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
So there's another Avatar Glass in Dubai that they got the .com, which is hilarious.
You should buy all that shit up. I'd like to just buy. Yeah. Sometimes I'll have like idea and I'll just buy it on GoDaddy. I own solongbong.com.
I'm sure you can imagine how hard the competition is for the copyright of the word Avatar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see
someone
else owning
Guess who owns a lot of those copyrights? His name is James Cameron.
Not Disney?
No, literally James Cameron.
I would look that up.
On a lot of the patents.
You can look it right up.
On a lot of the patents, I've literally seen James Cameron on.
In Google, you can look up copyright. Like you just look it up and you see who owns Avatar.
It's literally going to say James Cameron.
I would bet Disney now.
Maybe Disney,
I
yeah.
would think
Now,
Disney would
because,
own it. Like, I would think Disney would own it, but maybe we'll get to the bottom of
20th
that.
Century Studios, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Literally,
copyright.
and Fox is owned by Disney. So yeah, literally Disney and James Cameron own my name, basically.
So we're both
so
right.
I'm fucked.
We're both right.
Well, but that's why I'm saying I'm fucked. Like I will never be able to own my name because
and you might get sued, but you
no. I think I can't get sued because it's my name. Yeah. Thank God. But
you might have to be if you were to have merch. I don't know.
You should
ask an IP lawyer because that's interesting because it's your
Well,
birth name.
I know that with IP law and stuff like that, if you do something to confuse the customer to make it seem like if I made like Avatar the movie or Avatar the Last Airbender or whatever inspired art, then they maybe could do a cease and desist on that because you're confusing people into thinking it's that. But if it's my own art and my intellectual property and it's the same name because it's my real name, I don't think they can do anything about that.
Yeah. So you have avatar.com.
No. I tried. I'm saying like when I tried.
No, but you did have it and someone else bought it?
No, I had avatarglass.com.
Avatar Glass. Okay.
Yeah. No,
so with Glass behind it,
probably like millions of dollars.
Yeah, you're not trying to rip off the movie. Not
at all.
But you're gonna have a hard time finding that's
what I'm saying. Just copyrighting
more trademarks.
Yeah, super hard.
But with Glass at the end, you'd probably be okay. Well, man.
Honestly, I wish I didn't have to have the glass. I wish it could just be Avatar.
No, that'll never happen.
That'll never happen. That'll never happen.
That dream to rest. Yeah. We're wrapping this up. So, thank you so much.
Man. Absolutely, man.
Yeah, thanks for being on the pod.
Anytime.
That was an awesome episode. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank you guys.
Yep. And we'll see you next time on the Robertson Stash. All right. Thanks for tuning in to the Robertson Stash podcast. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you want to support us, please hit the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, we want to hear from you. So if you have any comments or questions, please feel free to reach out. Hit the website, hit the link. We'll see you next time.